Hello legends and super legends, welcome to Veloharmony. It's about 21 Celsius, about 72 degrees thereabouts. It's warm, it's muggy, it feels muggy. I think I may remove this cap. I'm going to walk outside when I'm done with this. That's about the only thing I'm going to change. I got my lightweight rain vest in, so I'm going to be wearing that. And because it's so warm, I'm just going to wear my regular summer gloves. There's a lot of moisture. It rained yesterday. The roads are wet. In about 2 hours, it's supposed to dry up. But I've got the Colnago outside already with the mud guards on it. That's what I'm going to be taking. So I plan on doing a long ride. The Team RR guys are kind of iffy. One of them, Bob, the guy who got dropped early in the ride, said he's going to wait till the weather stabilizes. I'm not sure what he means by that, but he's dodging rain, so he's going to go out later. I don't have that luxury, so I'm heading out, get a long ride in. So don't let the weather change your plans. You should be able to handle all kinds of weather if you want to keep your appointment, so you don't have conflicts with other things. So I'm taking 4 gels, and then I'm going to take 3 granola bars. So that gives me enough food for 7 hours. That's the way I look at it. That's about the longest we'll ride usually. And then I will take a gel before I head out. Put something in the tank. So that's kind of how you gauge it. You want something to eat for every hour. That's a good guide. I err on the side of having a little more. Let's see. Get my patch kit. Take an extra 2. I'm taking an extra 2. So I wanted to show you all. Let me take this off. This is where I put my extra 2. With the Rafa shorts, they have, I'm not wearing a base layer because it's so warm. And I may remove this hat before I leave. I've already mentioned that. But what I do is I take my extra 2. There are pockets in the bib shorts back here. I put that in there. And then I'm going to put my phone on the other side. That's pretty much how I do it. So I save my pocket for other things. So now I'm fully loaded. You can see how my jersey looks. I've got all my food on this side. Nothing in the middle, because I will use that to hold the gimbal when we're not using it. And then I got my pack kit over here. I've loaded my extra 2 and my phone in the radio pockets of my shorts. I'm still wearing thermal shorts because even though it's 70 and a little muggy, where we're going will still be slightly cooler. That's the reason why I'm on the fence about the hat I have under this helmet. So I'm going to walk outside after this and just verify that this hat will work. It might be a little warm, and I don't want to have any extra stuff that I need to take off. This vest is nice and warm. That's why I'm not wearing a base layer. The vest is the same color as the jersey. I have filmed a review of this vest. I'll give you all the details you need to know about this vest. It's got the dual Visalon zipper. So I'm lining them up and get that in here because I don't think I will need to take this vest off. If anything, I'll just use the zippers to regulate my temperature. Okay, so got my Osso shoe cover on. I took it in the rain early this week and it worked great. I'm very happy with them. They work really well. So, no matter what, get your K's in. On this ride, Paul and I left Northampton. It was raining. It was already wet. It rained the night before. Just light rain, but just enough to get everything messy. We went to the area to meet Team RR that weren't there. We took Fish Creek out towards the Keenan area. Once we got out there, we rode to Montgomery. We went on 1097. We bypassed Taco Corner and went up into the forest. in the forest. It was really cool. We came across Mo and 2 other guys. There were only 3 people in this group. They were headed south while we were headed north. We went the Bethel Road, came down, went the Gorilla Route into Dacus. We filmed Mount Moriah Road. We also filmed the forest where we met Mo. I think you guys will get a kick out of that. And we went through the Tri-Lakes area into Gary, took Keenan Cutoff, and went through the Grand Lake Estates back to Honia, Egypt, which led us into the woodlands. It's a good effort. We rode pretty hard, and it just turned out to be a beautiful day after the rain subsided. We got some clips of the wind gusts that almost blew us off our bikes in the forest. Hope you all got a chance to get some K's in. This is Paul here with the gimbal. He just turned it on as the motor you heard. I went to take a nature break. We just finished repairing a flat. As I had a flat, as we got to this parking lot, there was glass in my tire. We found it and took it out and replaced the flat. And I went to take a nature break while he was doing this.
7:48. No one is here.
So we'd gotten here about 7:30. We've been there for a bit.
This is an empty parking. This is a cross pizza. No one is here but Eldred and I. So we're going. Little light rain this morning. Nothing major. So
you can see it's wet. So because they don't have mud guards, even wet roads stop.
Here's Eldred. Where's everybody at?
Where's everybody?
7:48.
So they're not here. We're going to go ahead and head out. These guys wimped out. A little bit of water, and they're like a bunch of pieces of sugar cubes. And so we're going to head out, and we'll get some clips for you guys. And hopefully they'll probably ride tomorrow because it's not supposed to rain. So if the rain is going to stop you from riding, you're not hardcore. You're not even close. Are we Mises or Men? What are we? Let's do this, man. We're heading out.
That's from Tom and Jerry. Mises of Men.
All right.
Instead of saying mice, they say Mises. I watch cartoons with my daughters. That's where I got that from. Paul always lies. Hey, where do you come up with this stuff?
I had a flat tire on the way. I had a flat tire. We stopped here. We repaired. And then we came over. We knew they were not here. And so we decided to just do these clips for you guys. But look at this day. The rain has stopped. It rained on us a little bit. But you know, they said 30% chance, I think. And then after like 9:30 or so, it's supposed to turn right. It's supposed to be clear. But we're ready for anything. We're going to ride long today. This is our long day, so we're going to ride long. So we'll get a few clips as we head out there. You know. But we got that thing. There was glass in my tire. And I'm glad that we took the time to check the tire, like we always do. And we found the glass and removed the glass. It worked its way in and barely nicked. So it was a slow leak. Clear left. When it's raining, when the roads are wet, the glass will stick to your tire. It's a lot easier. All these bottles that people throw out, little specks of glass and stuff, it's gonna happen. So I have brought 2 tubes today. So it's perfect.
Yep.
So I still have 2 there. I believe I picked up my tire. I'll put it together. Car, let's start. Everybody's got red, so who's supposed to go?
There we go.
Jeez.
We do.
It was red for a long time. That's the big part. That's on the left turn over there.
Yep.
So let's stay on the road.
Yep.
It's cleaner.
So Mark had posted on their board, the group lead board for Team RR, that they were going to wait till the morning to decide. He did that on Friday. And later in the day, he said that he had gotten drenched early in the morning. We found out.
Beautiful day.
Yeah, lovely.
That he'd gotten drenched in his driveway. Well, if you're going to ride in rain, you need to have rain gear. You'll hear me tell him on Sunday
We got part of
We're gonna get
Sunday's
some
ride.
clips for you guys. We're near the lake.
We're near Lake Conroe, the tail end of it, and we see people fishing. So this is what I'm talking about. It's a beautiful day. A little bit of light rain. I mean, it was kind of a messy day because it didn't rain heavily, so it created a lot of dirt on the road. I'm pointing out those guys fishing. I think I put an arrow on them. There are two guys in a boat over there fishing. There are a couple of guys across the other side of the highway
There's
in their
another
boat
one
fishing.
on that side.
People out living. You can't let the weather stop you. Get the right equipment. What's his name? One of our legends just posted that somewhere, I think in Scandinavia, they talk about there's no bad weather, just bad clothing. I'm paraphrasing. It was Silent Moses. Yeah, you need, if it's hot, you gotta wear light stuff. If it's cold, you wear more. You know, if it's raining, you wear rain gear. You hear me tell Mark on Sunday's ride, because he asked about that and said, well, we don't just ride in the rain. Even my wife had asked, you know, I was doing this recording, the editing, and she said that, you know, how you guys go out there and ride in the rain and get wet. And I told her, I said, we don't just ride in the rain. And the funny thing, she's here with me. I thought she knew. She's the one who's always bringing all the gear that I get from Rafa and other places. So my wife wasn't aware. She thinks we just go out there in regular cycling clothes. The equipment we have keeps us dry, and the mud guards keep us clean. And I think that's what deters a lot of cyclists, because you do get dirty. If we didn't have mud guards on this ride, we would have been filthy, because there was a lot of mud and all kinds of stuff on the road, because it didn't rain that hard. You will see some of the rain that we encountered in these clips. It was just light stuff, but what you will see here is we'll show you the storm coming, because the storm is coming from our left, which is west, and is blowing from left to right, going east, and we encounter it in the forest, and it literally almost blows us off our bikes. So I checked the traffic here. The car's coming. I hand Paul the camera, come back to the front. We're past Taco Corner here, and we're about to turn left up the road there into the Sam Houston National Forest, a road called Mount Pleasant Road. So I checked for traffic, it's clear, but there is a curve up there and those cars appear. See, that car they show up out of nowhere. So I always look ahead. So we're gonna turn left here. I look until I leave the road. I keep checking. It's a blind corner. You see the storm? To the left. That's a storm front coming there, storm system. I point out to Paul. I love these kind of days. It's beautiful. Look at that. I love this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole area, it started to turn to like night in a few kilometers. I've got lights on the front. I don't know if my light's off here. I have turned it off. No, it's off. It's just the camera can't keep up with it. That's the Dice, the TL Dice 50. And I've got the Cycle Light Dash 600 on the front. I take these when we're riding long because they just have an extended range. The rear gets 35 hours, the front gets 80 hours. The other lights we have, that you might get 5 or 6 hours out of them, so I don't like to take them on our long days. I don't want to run out. You see the wind's picking up already. Because it's warm, it's 20 Celsius here, I've got my vest a little zipped down in the front. What I did find that I really liked about this vest is the lower zipper. I used that extensively on this ride to access my pockets, to put the gimbal up when we weren't filming. It turned out to be flawless. So it has made all my other gilets that don't have double zips obsolete. So I will be getting more gilets with the double zip as they put them on sale. Because the ones from prior seasons did not have double zip and they were a pain. So I'm sure that's why. I'm sure they got feedback from the riders that tested. Because that is the way they need to be. Not just for temperature regulation, but for access. So we're going into the forest. It's windy, and this road has false flat. That's why we come through here. You're pretty much riding uphill in this direction, period. Robert Tangler had posted on Strava after I posted the Sunday ride. He asked if I had a favorite route. I have a favorite direction, which is north, and then I have favorite sections of all these routes. And that's kind of what I replied to let him know. I don't have one favorite route. I have many favorite routes, but most of them go north. And so whether it's northeast, northwest, or just straight north, I incorporate them. I just love going north. So I guess my favorite route is north from where I live. And it's not an accident. I mean, we're primarily in 2012, we moved where we are because of where I wanted to be as far as riding. Because we used to come out here, but we had to drop. Now we no longer have to. You can see the road is going up. Because the temperature is higher, the gimbal is behaving really well. I had recalibrated the gimbal before this ride on Friday. I went through the steps again, and I think it made a difference. Now watch, in a little bit you will see the wind try to blow us off the road. Right here. I mean, it was vicious. You see, I'm holding onto the bike, and I lean my body to the left. I lean into the wind. And so, and then I shift up, drop my cadence for more stability. There's a leaf on Paul's tire. You will hear it. It blew the leaves into his wheel, and it's sitting there on the spoke, and I think it's rubbing on the brakes or something. Right there, that's what you're hearing. That's the leaf rubbing on his wheel.
Look at those flaps.
And so because it's gusting, we're taking it easy here because I'm bracing for another gust. And after we repaired the flat, I don't know, somehow I was fiddling with the gearing, but I didn't quite adjust it very well. My barrel cage is a little off because my shifting is delayed. I hate waiting for my shifting when I'm riding. So I told Paul, let's stop over here. This is some kind of farm. We pull off the road. I never like to stop on the road. I always find a driveway.
This is what we're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. We're in the woods. Look at those birds out there.
There are some birds, but they don't show up. They're so small, they don't show up. But I was telling Paul they know something. So right there, I pick up the bike, and what I do is I tighten the cable because what was happening was when I would shift, it was not indexing correctly. It was not going into easier gears properly. When it's not going into easier gears properly, that means the cable is loose. When it's not going into harder gears in the back, that means the cable's too tight. So what I do is I shift and then turn. It should be able to go freely after each click.
I think I got it. We'll see.
Okay.
That should be good.
And I got it. And all I was messing with was my the barrel cage on the back of the rear derailleur. And then I retightened that.
Acting up. I don't have time for that.
I don't think that had anything to do with it, but I like to make sure that it's super tight because I don't like my wheel to tick or move.
Man! I don't know, my brother. It has,
When we did the repair, I think,
filming that? Look at
Yeah.
the sky.
Yeah,
there's a storm over there. The camera doesn't do it justice.
Yeah.
There's like a funnel cloud east of us.
See
Yeah.
that? Man, let's do this.
Almost looked like a tornado was trying to form or something.
I know, man.
I have to lean into it and just hold onto my bars.
Yep.
We're talking about the wind.
All right.
So
let's
obviously
do
there's
this.
nothing coming. We get on the road and we start again. But
That's
you
what we
notice
come
where we
here for,
stop.
man.
When you stop, get off the road. Don't
Get
pull
the
what I
test of
call
the
a
wind in the
Michael.
hills.
Don't mess with the traffic. Stay off the road. You're not visible when you're not moving. And it's just courteous. There's no point. It just makes sense. When I said don't pull up Michael, on Sunday I rode with these guys. You'll see the clips. You don't really see where he did that, but even Alan rode with us, and Alan had not ridden with Michael before. And after the ride, we're riding back to the parking lot, Alan said, "What's with that guy that seems to have no respect for traffic?" And then I brought Alan up to speed and told him, I've said all I'm willing to say to him. because we're all riding and we're on the shoulder. He's in the main lane on a busy highway that's only 2-lane road. So it was just ridiculous. So that's just something he does. He doesn't seem to have respect for traffic. Alan had to tell him several times, get on the shoulder. And Alan's never ridden with him. So I thought, Alan, don't waste your breath. So the cars are always honking at him. So we did not follow him when he was pulling. He was in the main lane. We stayed on the shoulder and had our own baseline. And we just ignored it. So that's something he just seems to have no respect for the other road users, and he just likes to annoy them. But that's his thing. But it's get to the point where I don't really like him riding with me. I don't mind him with the whole group, but when it's just us, like we split on Sunday, and he was the third rider, it was just Alan and I, and we just did our own thing. Because when we got into town, he was doing crazy stuff. So some people ride like that. All you can do is, if you say something and they don't listen, you just leave them alone. Just don't follow them. That's the way I'm handling that. He must like cars blowing at him all the time, because he scares the drivers. He does not maintain a predictable line of travel. We can see here in the forest, the road's narrow, we're using the road. So even if a car were to come, it would use the other lane or wait until it was safe to pass, because we're in a predictable line and it's clear and we have no other option. That's what I'm talking about. I use the road when it's necessary, but if there's space, why not share the road? That's what that sign means. It's not just for drivers. It's not just for drivers of cars. Share the road means cyclists and drivers share the road. If you have enough room and it's safe to use a shoulder, use a shoulder. If you were walking, you wouldn't walk in the middle of the road. You'd walk on the shoulder. Same difference. You're a slower moving vehicle, stay as far to the right as is practical. That just makes sense. So the only problem is when you have somebody in your group who can't even by common sense see what the rest of the group is doing and conform. That's the part that does not register with me. And he's not a new rider. So here I stand to just kind of keep my momentum. It's very windy. I'm paying attention for those gusts. And I think in a little while I'm going to sit quickly, because I'm standing and then it blows and I just sit to get more balance. Because you're more stable in the saddle when it's very gusty. It's not here. We're headed north in the Sam Houston National Forest. And in a few kilometers we encounter Mo and company. Right there, I sat back down because that wind picked up. You see the rain? Light rain. It didn't rain that much, and if it had, we were ready. I mean, at least I was. Paul didn't wear his gilet today for some reason, but I have mine. And that thing beads water. Nothing got through it. That vest really works. I've got the training jersey, the Pro Team training jersey that is the same colorway as the rain vest. That's what I'm wearing. It is a lightweight. I guess a training is kind of between lightweight and featherweight. So it's a lighter fabric. It's not a winter jersey per se, but this was a warm day. As you can see, the temperature is that it says 14°C. I called Paul up so he can take his turn at the front. It's 14°C. It got colder in the forest. After we encountered that wind, the temperature dropped significantly. I think it gets close to, it felt like 10°C. 10 Celsius. I wanted Paul to come to the front to make sure we get his kit. He's wearing the block fade print with the silver Rafa shoe covers. Pink on the rear matches the kit really well. The forest is always like this. Doesn't matter what day of the week you come. You get a car every now and then. So it's a great place to come and ride. It's one of my favorite roads because it's challenging. It is more challenging in the opposite direction, in my opinion. Paul was was pointing out, I think, water or debris. I hand him the camera, he takes over. In this corner, we're gonna be going left. If you watch how I turn, my line is a wide arc. I slow down and I take a wide arc. I keep the bike upright. This is not the time to lean the bike. It doesn't matter whether you're racing, whatever. Take a smooth, wide line, keep your bike upright. Let the other people take risks. Because when they fall, they will lose more time than you will ever lose by slowing down and taking a curve properly in the wet. It is slippery. So the more challenging the road, like if you have a decreasing radius turn where the road narrows, you need to slow down even more and take a more predictable line. The road is going up, as you can see. We had very little problems with the gimbal. We didn't have any problem with the gimbal that much. The day started out warm. It cooled down in the forest a little bit, but then as we exited the forest, temperatures went back up. And there was like two different kind of weather system going on in the forest. Where the wind was blowing us, it was like dark, like night. Around here, it was almost like the sun came out on this part of it. So the front went through quickly. And look at that road. That's why we come through. It's pretty, and they paved this part nicely. It's a new section they paved, and I just love coming through here. In the summer, it's cooler in here as well. So find an area near where you live. You don't need to go very far to have good rides. There are roads. If you don't know, find out from other cyclists. That's one of the joys of riding with a group. The group will take you there. Right here we see cyclists, and we identify Mo. You see him pointing? Then he gave thumbs up. I did a replay here. There's a lot of messages in that. The message is he's pointing, he's saying, I see you guys. That's what that was. That was a loaded hello. That wasn't just a regular hello. We chewing the same dirt. That's what he meant. He pointed before he gave thumbs up as he got closer. He was like, I see you guys out here. That's why we're all excited. Always happy to see Mo. But Mo was pointing at us and saying, I see you guys putting in the work. The hard men. That's what Paul said. The hard men are out here. Basically, that was like a private language.
That's how the hard men greet each other.
Yeah.
We share the same pain.
Yes. Look at you doing the work.
I still have my glasses on the back of my head because with the rain, you can't see. The raindrops obscure the lens, so I don't keep it on.
Yeah, Mo was smiling, man.
Mo was smiling. All three of those guys were smiling. Mo, Jim, and Fabian.
Yep.
He pointed at us before he gave thumbs up. He was basically saying, I see you putting in the K's. That's what it takes, guys. You gotta ride your bike. You wanna be good, you gotta ride your bike. You wanna be healthy, you gotta exercise. Doesn't matter. That's it. It's that simple. So if you think you don't have time now, if you don't take care of your health, at some point your whole life will shut down so you can go sit in the doctor's office to deal with it with chemicals. And you know how that is.
Mo was thrilled.
At this point, we're at Mount Moriah. We're approaching Mount Moriah Road, south of Dacus. I think some people call it Dacus. We turned on the camera right before getting to Mount Moriah Road. That's how experienced cyclists greet each other, a point. And we're excited to see him. We're always happy to see Mo. But we knew what he meant. He was like, I see you. That's basically what he was saying. In a couple of weeks, we'll hook up with Mo's group. We'll mix it up. We're gonna bring both groups. We turn on Mount Moriah Road. There's some dogs on the right and left, and I like to mess with them. They're always barking at us, but they're fenced in, so I mess with them. The ones that aren't fenced in, I don't mess with them. I like to make sure I ride away, so they don't get in front of me. Yeah, they're on the right. So I always tell them, hey, come on, not today, not today. The dogs act surprised when they hear you speak on the bicycle. Like they don't expect you to speak because they're paying attention to the bicycle. They don't really care about you. It's the bicycle they're chasing because that's what's getting away from them. So then when you speak, it throws them off. Because the humans that are around don't usually move that quickly away from them. That's all they're chasing, the movement. That's why when you're a kid, they tell you when the dog's running after you, don't run. It thinks you're playing. You can't outrun it. So on the bike, I try to make sure I get them behind me. If they're loose, I yell at them, to startle them so I can get by. Because they usually freeze. Once you get them behind you, then you can take off if the conditions necessitate that. But don't try to ride past them where they can cross in your path because they don't know. They'll just jump in front of you. Some of them can cause you to fall. There's one of the hills we come in here for. It's like 7 or 8% on my head unit, but this overlay only showed it at 4%. It's steeper than that. It's short but steep. You can see it up there to the left. It curves to the left. This is the hardest direction to do Mount Moriah Road. Coming the way you see that car coming, that's easier. So we like to go south. It's on the way home anyway. It's one of our favorite roads. I think I mentioned that Robert Tengler had asked if I had a preferred route. So I have pieces of the area that I like to put together. So yes, in a way I do, but I just prefer going north in general. Primarily because of the lack of traffic volume and the challenging terrain. Right here, we're climbing. It kicked in. It's steeper than what is displayed. Right there really bites. I did not downshift, I just powered that gear. One of my legs to hurt. Normally in the group I would climb 95, 105, something like that. But by myself I climb with slightly lower cadences. I still keep it above 70. We're still climbing here. And the curve will go to the left. The road on the right dead ends, does not go anywhere. I think there's some private property. We've ridden down that way. There's a bunch of dogs out there too that chase us. But we always check out these roads to make sure if there's any interesting climb, even if it dead ends. So just as steep as that one was, this one, as soon as you turn, you get a downhill. Then we'll go around that curve and then we'll go back up. So it's just one after another. You come through here. I like this better than the 1486 highway that we used to get to it. Because first of all, that highway has chip seal and the traffic is faster even though they're infrequent. But back here, this is like a subdivision. Few farms. So yeah, the road's not super smooth because they don't have the tax base. That's a church we passed, Baptist Church. Mount Moriah Baptist Church. So they don't have the big tax base to have super smooth roads everywhere. So certain sections are smoother than others. But it's not bad. You see it says 3%. It doesn't look it a lot of times, but you feel it. And so you must shift. I did a lot of shifting. That's why I stopped earlier in the ride to adjust my shifting, because once I started having problems with it, it was going to make it a long day. But it was pretty minor. I'm not sure why it got off. Somehow I must have misadjusted because I played with the adjuster after I did the repair on my wheel, and I may have gone in the wrong direction. I may have loosened instead of tightened, because it was a lot looser than I expected it to be, because it was fine when I left the house. I just told Paul a little while ago that it was 16 Celsius. I was close, it says 15. Yeah, I've learned how to convert this thing on the fly just by working with the conversion numbers. So I can just do it in my head. You can see, there's another one. That's why we come through here. And I think we just did a little bit of this and then we switched to because once we got to the end of this area, we stopped at a store. I ran out of water, so I had one bottle of water. This is what, 3 hours, 20, so 4 hours.
Get some clips of Paul
We
here.
add 30 minutes
4 hours
to.
on one bottle empty.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
We'll be
about.
stopping in about 3 kilometers, maybe 5 kilometers.
So about 4 hours, because 30 minutes before we turn on the
Camera is
camera,
perfect,
right
man.
from the house, 35
The
minutes.
weather, man.
So 4 hours on one bottle because it was a cool day, it cooled down. When we started, it was like 21. Now it's 16.
B-E-A-U to ball. That's why we come out here.
I got that from the movie Bruce Almighty. It says B-E-A-U to focus on beautiful. Beautiful terrain. Then a little while we switched to
Honey Egypt Road, closing out this ride. I want to get some shots for you guys. Wind has picked up. There you go, my brother. You're in business. Point and shoot. Roll.
my vest is open, so you can see the wind flailing at it. I got the bottom open. It's warmed up 5 degrees Celsius since we're in Mount Moriah area. So I had unzipped, and then with the wind picking up here, I went ahead and zipped it up, and I was able to do that with one hand using that zipper, just the lower one. That's what I used most of the ride. The lower zipper was valuable, so it's a nice feature, very funky. So I tightened everything up because it's just flailing around. This is one of my favorite roads. I like this road. Every time I get on it, I want to go fast. My body doesn't always cooperate, but my mind wants to go fast. It's just a road you want to just ride. Konya Egypt Road. We're passing a drive called Mulligan Drive on the left there. That was the way you used to go before they opened Fish Creek. That's how you got past the golf course. They did not have that bridge that is over the creek that's coming up on Fish Creek Boulevard. So that was the back way. It's now being closed because it's a private road. You can see that hill coming up. That's the final little bump as you get out of the Honia area. It's windy, hilly. If you're in that kind of terrain, keep your cadence up. Because if your legs get tight, you will slow down. Because speed is cadence maintained for distance. It's not the size of the gear. The size of the gear is determined by your fitness level and the conditions. So as we approach this climb, I shift to the small chain ring, and I'm in the middle and the back. I'm in a 17 to the car. Because the smallest ratio I have in the rear is a 25. I don't like to cross chain. So with the 53, I just drop it to the 39, put it in the 17 and start there and decide, and then I continue to shift up. because it lessens. It says 2%, it bites quickly, and then it starts to go down, but you're still climbing. And so as it goes down to like 1% there, I shift to a harder calm to keep the effort up. It hurts the legs, but you extend the climb. That way you get a better workout. So even though the climb is short, you make it longer by keeping the gears high. That's why when riders, well, I wouldn't say riders, when some people come online and say, oh, we got real hills or we got this or whatever, I just laugh, because that tells me they're not experienced. There is no experienced rider that would tell you real hill or false hill. In the right gear, a flat road can feel like a mountain. It's your gearing and how you ride it that matters. It's not whether you got a 10% climb. On a 10% climb, you're going to be using a smaller gear and still putting out the effort you choose to. So people just show, that's what I'm saying. When people make comments, it's clear to people who are in the know that their level of experience is not up to par based on what they say. You can't bluff someone who knows something. So a lot of times I don't say anything. I just laugh. So even though it says 0, this is still a slight grade. And at this point, somewhere around here, I go to the big chain ring. Then right about here somewhere. See if I can tell right there. Shift to the big chain ring and move the chain in the back to an easier calm if you wanted to. You have to be able to do that without breaking your rhythm. This is almost 6 hours into our ride. The 5:23 is because we started the camera when we got to Crust Pizza, which is 35 minutes away from where we start riding. So we've got about another hour left in the ride. And we're pouring it on here. We like to close our rides strong. You can see how the drivers are passing us on this road. A couple of reasons. We frequent this road. There's enough people riding here regularly. Secondly, we're not sightseeing. They see you're taking care of business. People respect that. Instead of you just being out there trying to block the road and impede traffic. They see us working. I get a lot of drivers that will pull up alongside and actually try to see what speed I'm going by, pacing me. They do that. I get that a lot every time I ride, every week pretty much. Especially when you're moving, they want to know. So if you're taking care of business and you look like you're serious, people take you seriously. But if you go out there to just annoy people or whatever, you create problems for yourself. Because there's always going to be somebody crazier than you that will create a headache for you. So just go out there and respect the other road users and really share the road. You make all of us look good. Just take care of business. And then on the off chance that you come across somebody who wants to blare their horn or whatever, resist the urge to gesture obscenely or whatever. As long as they don't hit you and knock you off your bike, just let them go. They're having a miserable day. Don't let them draw you into their misery. You have the right to use the road. But the paramount thing is that you focus on your safety. If somebody's being unsafe, if you have to leave the road, do that. Get their license plate. Let the peace officers know. Let them deal with that. Don't try to put yourself in harm's way. I check for traffic. We're using the shoulder. Nothing's coming. The shoulder here is nice and clean. So we're back in town, and it's more congested. So we're using the shoulder here. Even though there are 2 lanes and we could use that right lane, the shoulder is clean, it's available, why not? So I usually just stay within a foot of the white line. Just by using that with being courteous, because the volume of traffic is a little higher, especially this time of the day. A little after 1 o'clock. Everybody's out running around. That's the reason. You would see me stand a couple of times. Every time my speed would drop, the wind is blowing. So every time my speed seemed like it was dropping, I would stand a little bit just to kind of get that gear rolling. I did not want to downshift. In a little bit, we get more shelter. Those trees you see up there and some of the buildings will block the wind more. You see my speed already picking up. I don't know if I've already stood, but I think in a little bit I will stand to get the gear rolling. I've already done. Right here, I stand a little bit, roll that gear, sit back down. It just felt like I was slowing down. Every time I felt like I was slowing down, I would stand and kick it up. I think I'm in the drops. Yeah, I'm in the drops. But as we get more shelter, our speed goes up. See all these trees, that fence. That 35, I think it goes up into 37 or something. The effort is the same. The speed goes up because the trees and everything slowing down the wind that's coming from the west. That's why you can't train to speed. See, now I'm up to 37 and I'm not going any harder. If you can't ride your drops, your fit is off. If you can't lower your body while you're riding, your fit's off. Get it checked out. I check for traffic. This lane is clear. We're coming to the intersection, and for once, I mean, this is rare that we come here and we hit the green light. For once we hit the green light, I soft pedal a bit, and the cars are moving, and we just slot in. And so this right lane goes straight, so does the lane on the left, and they go straight and left. But then our lane ends where you see the barrels. I'm gonna be building probably a new lane soon. But I go ahead and check for traffic. I look behind this car that goes by. I want to make sure it's clear, and then I take the lane. And I kick up the speed since we're already moving. About 23 thereabouts. Let's see, 35 kilometers, about 23 miles an hour, 22, 23. I check for traffic. I stay in the lane. And there's a car turning here, so right after we go around this car that's turning, we take the turn lane. Since we're going to be turning at the light. You have to be careful when you do what we're doing here. You have to be watching for people who might want to use this turn lane, you know, the other way. So I'm watching for that. Because we got in a little early. People can turn at any point in that lane.
Nina! Yeah. You can turn it off after the green. Man, that was good.
Yep.
Come on, let's do this. One shake.
Yeah, the light's already green. This driver is sitting there. All the other cars are gone, gapped. So I said it's one shade. So I look back for Paul. He's clipping in. Got the arrow. We're in town, so we take this right lane completely. This road's not a busy road. We take this right lane. The busier it is, the more we position ourselves. I was telling Paul that I really like the lower zip, and he laughed. I'm unzipping the lower zip so I can take the camera and put it in my pocket.
Perfect, man. They should have had it years ago.
It should have been on the other vest, because that was my biggest thing about the G-Link.
That was good. I'm glad we filmed there, man. It's good closure.
So I don't know the camera's on, and he tells me it's on.
Oh, okay.
And now go ahead and flip it off.
24 hours later, same parking lot. Alan texted me yesterday and said he was going to be here. I already see his truck, so he's here. So I'm heading out. I'm going to do about 120 kilometers today. And so I'm just going to sit in today and get some clips for you guys after our epic ride yesterday. We'll see what my body has left. And so I brought the blue bike. It's cold today. I guess that rain brought something in, so you can see complete difference. 40, so it's 42. So this is probably close to 6 or 7 C. So it's gonna warm up in an hour or so, so we'll see how that goes.
How I calculate the Celsius to Fahrenheit is, the Celsius goes up every 5 degrees Fahrenheit. Celsius goes up about two and a half, thereabouts, almost 3. So that's what I calculated. That's how it works. It's close enough.
How you doing?
Alan told me to be.
Huh? How did you get in yesterday? About 106 or something. Yeah. It was beautiful, man.
Miles we got.
It was wet in the morning, but it cleared up. Yeah.
I thought it was beautiful. They're laughing. Like, yeah, it was a
We
nice
got
day.
rained on, but you gotta have the equipment. You're gonna go out in the rain, you gotta have rain gear. So,
You can't help rain. That was the only bad news.
nah, nothing bad about it. It rained a little bit. The roads were just messy. It didn't rain hard, but then it was very windy because the front blew in about 9. We went through the forest. It was very cold in the forest, but then it warmed up in the 60s.
It was fun.
You left early?
Same time. I only have that window to ride. I don't
Just you and Paul?
have the luxury. Yeah, we saw Mo and Jim and Fabian.
I saw.
And then we saw Austin. So about 4 or 5 riders we saw. But they weren't going as far, so we, yeah,
I
we
couldn't ride
passed
in the
that.
afternoon. Doug was talking about going out later. I couldn't ride.
Yeah, I don't have that
only have
luxury. I got the morning. That's it.
I have to.
We rode up to, you know,
it's safe.
Bethel Road when we went with Mo and them that time.
Yeah, I need to do those long rides.
Yeah, we
I
went.
to sneak down at the change.
So we dropped the effort a little bit, but those hills, you get a great workout. So yeah, so we went through the forest and went up 149.
At this point, we've done the warm up, and I just cut the where I wanted to point out Michael. See Michael right there, he's in front. Now watch him slip to the back. We're turning because there's no traffic and we didn't have the signal. The sensor would not work for us. They're doing construction. Michael's soft pedaling so we can go in front. They do that a lot in this group because he doesn't want to be at the front at this point, and that's fine. In a few kilometers, I intentionally pull out of the line and force them to go through because it was like I wanted to see what this group wanted to do today and what kind of pace they wanted. But what I was going to say was that I have the mornings to ride, especially on the weekends, because my family sleeps in. So by the time I'm done riding, my family's been up a few hours. It's a lot better. I can hang out with my daughter, hang out with my wife. If she's running errands, I can watch my daughter while she goes to do whatever she wants in the afternoons. So it just works. It's better. It keeps the peace. I can ride as long as I want when I get up in the morning. If I tried doing it in the afternoon, it would just be edging and create issues. So it doesn't mean I can't go out in the afternoon, but I can't go out and do 7 hours in the afternoon. It's just not practical. I'd much rather spend that time with my family. So it's better to do it in the morning. So unless it's unsafe, that's why I have the gear I need, whether it's cold, hot, whatever. Get out there. So that way I can keep my appointment. So my appointment with my bike is first, because when I was in soccer and other things, it was always better to ride or work out in the morning and use that energy throughout your day. And it doesn't matter what you're doing, even if you go into the gym, just try it. If you work out in the morning, you have more energy throughout the day. You definitely got to snack and eat stuff. You can't go out, but it's better to work out in the morning. Working out later in the day, sometimes, if it's real late, it can affect your sleep, depending on the intensity of your workout. So I just find it easier. I've always found it easier to start my day with exercise, especially when I had a corporate job, because I controlled the time before I got to work. Once you get to work, things happen. And so it was just better. So I'm on that routine. I've always been on it. So My appointment is with my bike first before anything else. Some people have requested that I do a day in the life of Veloharmony. Picking a day, I will pick a typical day where I drop off girls, ride, got a bike fit, something that represents my routine. I'll try to do something like that concept. But yes, schedule your workouts first because you control your time before you go to work or whatever else you're doing. And you will use that energy from the workout to fuel your day. You'll have an extra kick in your step. So at this point in the ride, I noticed that Mark is riding hard, but it's early. It's a Sunday. And it's early in the ride, and this is a climb. It says 1% now. It's between 1 and 2. But he's 39, whatever, doing 32 kilometers an hour. And then he turns here. So what I do is I go ahead on this turn, I pull to the left. Right there, you see my shadow. I pull by the yellow line and I slow down. Look at my gate. I leave that gap. I make it clear I'm not going to be there so they can decide how long they want to take to get up there. I don't really care. And then Maurice rides up there. Then Michael rides up. And then Paul Edge comes by. Now Paul Edge does not refrain from pulling, so he's one of the guys that work. And then I slip behind him. I just wanted them to get in front of me and so I can get a feel for what they want to do today. You can see the cars are passing us in the other lane completely because Mark just pulled off the front and he's drifting back. I hang back here intentionally so he can get behind Paul Edge. You will see him look behind. I'm a little further in the view than I actually am. I'm about 2 car lengths behind. I don't know why he's looking behind. I'm the only one here. There's nobody behind me. And I'm here on purpose. You notice every time he looks behind, he does an S. That's a sign that his bike fit is not stable. When he turns his head, his bike moves. He turned to look to see who's there. It's just me. So in a little while, I decide to ride up now. Don't do this if you're riding with a group that is very fast for you because you have to work hard to close up. Especially if they decide that we're going to go on. So just don't copy that. Stay closer. Stay about here where you see me right now. I just did that to kind of get a feel. I wanted to see what they're going to be doing, what the character of the group will be today. From ride to ride, it's completely different. You guys have heard me say that. It depends on who's there, how fast they want to ride, and whatever. And for me, on Sunday, I like to sit in more and just spin my legs. I had planned to do about 120 kilometers today. That was my plan. So I hooked up with them. Alan had said he was coming. He sent me a text. And so I hooked up with them. I planned to ride with them and do a little more if necessary. It ended up not being necessary because Paul H. ended up going further than what Mark and I usually do. They came back earlier because I went with Paul H. to Taco Corner. They ended up giving me the distance I wanted to do. Because I had until noon to get my ride. So Rob just pulled off the front. Rob is a full-fledged mechanic who works at one of the local bike shops. So I go ahead and move up behind Mark so Rob can get behind him. I wanted everybody to get a chance to pull to this. It's a small group. There's no reason for anybody to sit in because they have to decide what pace they want to go on. There's no inexperienced person here. See Mark shifted on his saddle? That's a sign when things are not right. He's sliding. He doesn't like where he's sitting. Every time you do that, you can't pedal while you do that. So it's inefficient. And then as we begin to go hard, you end up moving your body while you go hard. It's not in its happy place. This road is called Dobbins Huffsmith Road. And this will take us up to Magnolia via 149. Saturday. I think it's busier on Saturday. That's why they don't come through. It's kind of southwest of where we usually ride. But we're headed north, so we're going to end up in a similar terrain from the west. So we're headed westward. That's what it says on so right now, Rob pulled up. Alan is pulling. Alan stayed there for quite a while. So I'm able to ride for 7 hours on Saturday, and then I did 5 hours today. Because over time, I've built up my tolerance. I didn't start doing this overnight. You guys have been here, you know, during the winters on end, we ride 4 or 5 hours. It was no big deal. But the key is that I recover well. I don't plan a lot of running around errands on Saturday. I do all my errands during the week. So Saturday when I get back, other than hanging out with my girls, I don't go to stores and stay on my feet all day long. I may sit and read or do something like that, or watch cartoons with my girls or whatever, but I'm sitting more than anything instead of being on my feet. So by Sunday, my recovery is good. You need to think about that. The days for the biggest, hardest rides, don't plan a lot of extracurricular stuff when you're done riding. Do those on your light days, or the days that you're off the bike. All your errands, get them out of the way. Riders we spot down the road just coming up on them pretty quick. We're riding into it's kind of into the wind somewhat, and this is a good pace. Slightly downhill ride here. There's a lot of rollers. You can see the terrain up there. It's almost flat here. It's a little downhill, and then it levels off, and then we'll pick up. We're doing almost 40 kilometers an hour. I'm sitting a little to the left of Mark. I want the shot, because I can see those riders, and I wanted to make sure that the shot represented what I was seeing. That's why you see me to the left. Ordinarily, I would be directly behind Mark to save energy, but if you look at my heart rate, my heart rate is saying I'm in zone 1, and my legs feel the same. So because of the level I'm at, it's not very hard, even though I'm sitting in the wind somewhat. And in a while, I will show, there's a shot where I show the guy behind me, Rob and Maurice, who's up there behind Alan right now. They're working harder than I am as I flip the camera back, and you'll see that. So everybody's at a different level. It's more important that you pay attention to you than the other riders. You know, pay attention to how you feel at any given time on a ride. And so if you're not feeling great, ride conservatively, draft. Save your energy. Don't take a pull. You can pull through, but then pull off. Nobody will mind. You can go through the line, pull off, and then get back in, you know. Or even leave a gap for the stronger riders to slip in front of you. Know how you feel. Don't do anything because, I gotta show it something. No. If I'm at the front pulling, I feel good. If I'm not, I won't be there. So Alan pulls off as we come by. Mark invites. It's a lady and a guy. Mike invites them, but we're going so hard up this climb, they wanted nothing to do with it. He invites them to join the pace line. We're going pretty fast. It's windy, going into the wind. There are rollers. What ended up happening was, by the time we got into Keenan, it was about an hour into the ride. They were already feeling the effects. You see Rob back there, he's working. There's another point where I will freeze the shot, so you can see. Mark and Maurice were the ones that came back home, and Rob ended up getting dropped on some of the climbs. And I don't know if I even filmed him, but I'll show you where. But the issue is that they rode so hard early here that by the time we got to Keenan, Mark said he was out of fluids. Now, if you look at his bike here, he's got 2 bottles. It's 6 Celsius, okay? It's cold. I'm like, how did you run out of fluids in 1 hour with 2 hours? I mean, I know we're not all the same, but I had 1 bottle and it was enough for the whole ride. You know, so I couldn't figure that out. The funny thing is, the place he wanted to stop when we got there, they weren't even open. So Paul H was like, look, I need a ride. And so we ended up just leaving them at the store and heading north. They were going back home. So I believe they rode too hard here and they needed to stop. There's no way he's out of water unless he got there with not enough water in those 2 large bottles. So that did not compute with me. But I think you even hear him on film saying he needs fluids. I didn't understand that. Even in the summer, I don't use 2 bottles an hour. You can see, watch everybody's body language. Look at Michael in 2nd position with the chartreuse shoe cover. He's working hard. Oh yeah, I just wanted to mention Paul H, who is in front of Mark, has committed to coming and getting a fit because he was asking me about my position on the bike. He said, you know, he sees me riding. He's like, man, I noticed you sit this way and you sit further back and I'm moving around or whatever. And I just went ahead and told him, you need to fit. Your saddle's a little high. And surprisingly, he just like, oh, what does it cost? And so I already had a discount for Team RR, so I sent him the code this morning, Monday. I sent me an email. I sent him the code so that he can go ahead and get his Team RR discount and sign up. So he's planning on coming on Friday. He has not made the purchase yet, but he sent me the email to confirm the appointment. And so I sent him the link so he can go ahead and book his appointment to come in for a fit. He needs to be dialed in. It will be good to finally get him to put out the power that's in his body. Because when it gets really hard, he reaches. If you watch him, you can see his hip slightly moving. The harder we go, the more he rocks. And then he admits that he has a lot of weight on the front of the bike, so sometimes it's hard to walk on a straight line with the aero bars. So we're going to get his saddle adjusted and those aero bars, take his weight off of that so he can track that even when he's on the aero bar. So hopefully he goes ahead and signs up for the fit. So we're planning to have him come in on Friday. We're going into the wind in rolling terrain, and these guys are riding 33 to 35 kilometers an hour. I'm sitting behind Mark. I'm at the bottom of zone 2, and I'm thinking they're not going to be able to sustain this. You see my heart rate drop. What's the name? Maurice pulls off the front, so now Michael takes over, and the speed drops, but Michael cannot match what Maurice was doing. So they were riding as if to say they were doing intervals, and the problem with that is I think it's a combination of them not planning beforehand how far they're going to go, and so they just come out and error themselves. You need to know what the plan is for each ride. That's really why they ended up turning back, because 1 hour into the ride, they're coming home. That's a 2-hour day, like on the weekends. So they did about 2 hours. The rest of us did 4 hours plus. I ended up with 5 hours or so. So you have to know what your plan is, and then you ride accordingly. So if you're riding with guys like these that are hammering, and you can tolerate sitting in, sit in, don't pull. When you do get to the front, pull off immediately, go back in the drive. Let them drive the pace, because it's their choice. If you're planning on doing a longer ride and sitting in works for you, then you sit in. You're not obligated. It's their idea to go this fast. Let them do it. Because what will end up happening is you won't be gassed. They'll have to go home early and you can go ahead and finish your plan. That's what I'm doing. So I'm just sitting in. I could ride at the front, or why bother? Save your energy for other things. And you will see we get the hills and they're hammered. I mean, they hammered the whole way. For me, it was a fun ride, but they ended up wearing themselves out and having to turn around. It happens a lot. And that's fine. It's not a bad thing. Let people have their fun. You need to know what your goals are for each ride. Since I knew my goal was to ride 120 kilometers minimum, I sat in. When I did pull, I pulled at a very mild pace, not slow, and you will see that. So always use your head. The French say, tête et jambes, head and legs. Don't just ride, think. We're climbing here. It may not register, but it will. I'm not sure why it's not showing, because this is a nice little bump. There, and it says 1%. It's probably between 1 to 3. I keep my cadence in the 90s primarily. If you look at my shadow, I'm holding the camera. My body's not moving, just my legs. Because my cadence is up, I don't need to look for power. They're all coming from my legs. Even though the pace is comfortable for me, I sit in. Because if I were riding solo, this is the zone I would be in. Zone 1 to zone 2. And that's exactly where I am in the draft. Let them kill themselves. This is perfect for me, and that's what I was explaining. So if you're in a similar situation and you're sitting in and you're in the zone you need to be in, you just remain there. Unless you want to change your zone, there's no reason for you to do anything different. See my cadence continue to go up. These guys are working hard. There's Rob on my left there. We come around, it's clear when Michael goes through. As these guys go through, I check. There's a car coming. There's a distance.
Car left.
I tell them car left. Even though he's not close, I want him to know something's coming from the left. And people can make their judgment. Don't just go with what other people in front are doing when you're in a group. Check as you get there, because the situation may have changed from the first guy to the last guy, especially in the bigger groups. And if it's not safe, you stop. And if they don't wait for you, you don't need to be riding with them anyway, because safety should be paramount. I said car back because there's a car behind us that could get around. Some drivers will do that, and I'm just letting Michael know the car's back. He looks behind, he takes the lane, which is good. If you're gonna do that, check, take the lane. Now he goes across the road. I don't know why he's way over there, but he wanted to go over the tracks. It wasn't necessary. Always take the tracks to where your wheels are at an angle to the gaps. So we turn. Pulls off. And then Alan comes around me, gets in front of me. Paul H is pulling me. Mark is behind Paul H. We turn north. We're basically going to be going into it. We're going to be going more north than west. So at this point here, we're headed north. This road is designed to where you see those ridges on the right. They're to alert drivers if they leave the lane. It basically gets your attention. They're like little washboard that feel like you're going over a lot of bumps. So we can't use the shoulder, so we use in the lane. And you will see the cars pass us using that center turn lane to give us plenty of room. You know, some of them pass a little closer than others, but generally, if you're on a route like this, that's where you ride. even if you're riding solo. Use the road. See that vehicle pass there? And that's just the spot to ride. You can't ride over there. I've seen riders go to the right of that thing to ride. It's just too narrow, and then you're off the road. So if something happens and you fall, you can't blame anybody. That's just not a very good decision. You're riding on the edge of that pavement, and it has a slant where the grass is. So that's not the best spot to ride. And you don't want to ride to the right of the white line because you don't have that much room. You will end up periodically running over those ridges. It's not a lot of fun. So this is where you want to be. And it's good to see how these guys position themselves. This is Highway 149, and we're headed north towards Magnolia. It's up and down, of course, like everything else out here. You hear the wind. Because of the rain yesterday, in the forest, that front that blew through what you saw, the wind was shifting because it had been warm when we started. It was muggy from the south. It shifted to the north, and now it's blowing northwesterly, and that has kept our temperature down since Saturday afternoon, pretty much. This time of year, we get a lot of fronts. I wish it would continue in the summer. The summer, once it gets hot, it just stays hot. That's my least favorite time of the year now. It's too muggy. I don't mind the heat, it's that mugginess, the stickiness. Thank God for air conditioning, it makes it more tolerable. When you're out there, you have to, so we go out same time usually, but then you drink more water. You wear lighter fabrics, all of that. You adjust to that weather. Alan's wearing the Veloharmony team kit shorts with his merino wool jersey. That's a Rafa merino wool jersey that Alan has. We go under the overpass. This is the overpass that usually we call Mount Magnolia. That we usually climb, and then we come at this light that you will see. That's the overpass we use when we come west on 1488. We're going under it because we came north on 149. So Paulage pulls off. And so Mark takes the lead. Somebody walking the side of the road. He's dressed nice and warm. He's walking in the grass. It was good to see because, yeah, if I'm walking on a road like this, I wouldn't be up where the bikes are. I'd be in the dirt or the grass. You're just not very visible. Not very conducive to pedestrians. You know, these country roads, these are out of town. So I'd probably walk where the grass meets the pavement. So Mark takes over, he's pulling. You're gonna see that when the road goes up, Mark puts more effort as opposed to downshifting. Just watch his body language. Right here, we're kind of going down. Right here is why, look at Rob and that's Maurice. Look at them, they're working hard. And I look like I'm reading a book. The point I'm making is, every sport, everything you get involved in, you have different levels. So you need to understand where you are and not try to do what someone else who's at a different level, or you will fry. That was the point of that. Just be aware of your fitness. Look at Mark. As the road goes up, he doesn't downshift, I can tell. He's putting more force in the pedals. Well, that wears out your legs. You see my cadence? Triple digits because the road's going up. I just downshift. I shift a lot when I'm riding. And I mean, you have the option, you can push a little bit, but within reason. You know, you don't want to do too much. I'm soft pedaling, that's why my cadence is dropping because he slowed down after that after that effort he put out on that bump. So I don't ride it like that. I ride it to where I don't recruit my upper body. You can see he's doing it again. He's recruiting his upper body as the road goes up, plus we're going into the wind. It doesn't need to go up much because with the gears we're riding in like a 80-inch gear, let's say 81-inch gear. And so when the road goes up with the wind, yeah, you're gonna have to shift down to 75-inch gear or something. You know, and for those of you who are not familiar with gear inches, let's say he's riding at 53.17, thereabouts, I'm estimating. And so if the road goes up and it's windy, if you don't downshift, you gotta put more force in the pedal. So I'm riding probably a 53.21 here. I'm not gonna use a 17 in this situation, downshift. So that's just an example, just to let you know how that translates. So if you do that, your muscles need more time to recover. So if you push too hard in a group and then someone changes the speed, sometimes you have challenges, difficulty keeping up. Just remember that. That's the reason when people say spinners are winners or whatever, that's what they're talking about. When you're competing, you want to use the lowest possible gear. There are specific training regimens that you do with larger gears, but that's for your workout, to build your strength. He's doing it again. And it could be that's the workout he wants to do today. But I'm just pointing that out. You can tell. And because his fit is not optimized, his body moves. And that basically lets everybody in the know realize that you're putting a lot of force in there. Now he's done. So Alan takes over. I'll roll through with Alan. So you can see how Alan is nice and smooth. I did Alan's fit as well. Now Alan did make some modifications to his fit. He tilted his saddle a bit for comfort after we did the fit. He didn't come back to follow up, but I believe that he's asking. He thought we're turning there. I've had the same confusion. This intersection looks like the one that we used, but this one dead and see a little yellow on the green thing there, green sign. So I'm letting him know it's the next one. Because I've had the same thing happen to me when I wasn't familiar with this area. But what I was saying was that we set up Alan's bike with his, I think he had S&P, but he found that he likes the abdominal saddle, that's what he's using. And he has a slight tilt, not much, I would say maybe 1 or 2 degrees, that he likes for comfort for his anatomy. As you can see, Alan is very steady on his bike. His saddle height is right, so he's not rocking. That's what it takes, guys. Okay, and Alan's a strong rider. Alan's getting in better condition now. You know, he's riding a little more. You know, scheduling is always an issue. But the biggest thing is that you must make sure that your bike feels comfortable. If you have any kind of aches, you need to address it. Because the more you ride, the more exacerbated it will become. It doesn't go away. You can hear the wind. We battled this front. The front that brought the cold temperatures was in our face. This ride. Coming south, we had the wind behind us. But this entire part of this ride, we're going into. So it's not easy to do I think we're doing about 23 kilometers an hour, 22 miles an hour, 36 kilometers an hour, 22, 23. It's not easy to do these speeds into the wind. Alan takes a drink, puts it back in, all while riding. You should be able to drink while you ride your bike. If you can't do that, you need to practice that. If you find you're not able to because the bike is unstable, go back and revisit your fit. So I'm asking them if we're going straight or turning right. I'm asking the guys because I wasn't there when they were discussing the route. So I heard straight, but because of the wind, they were saying right, but it sounded like straight, or somebody told me straight. Then they corrected it, and then I told Alan right turn, he gave me a thumbs up. It's hard to hear in the wind. This is another reason why I don't like to shout directions or shout hole or other obstacles, just point. So they may have said right, but I heard straight, and then somebody corrected it at the end, so we got it. So we're turning right. If you go straight, it becomes Jackson Road. If you turn right, this is Highway 149 continuing. This is the same highway. Somehow going right, the highway continues, but not straight. So it curves over the railroad tracks here. As Alan goes through, for some reason he unclips both feet. He did that twice on the ride, right there, watch it. He'll unclip both of his feet. I think he's stretching right there. He's stretching his quads. And then he clips back in. So I'll go ahead and take over the pull. I put the camera in my right hand and lean it. You know, Paul and I have discussed it. I lean it to the right. Because if you're pulling at the front with the camera, nobody wants to just see the road the whole time you're pulling. That's why I turned it around. It's a better view. You can see Rob. Rob is working. I can tell by his face he's working. Rob does not ride a whole lot, so his fitness is not where it used to be when he used to compete. That's the key, guys. If you ride away from somebody in a group ride, don't get too excited because everybody's doing different things. Everybody's got different things going on in their life. Unless you go to a race where people sign up to race, on a group ride, it does not really matter. And that's why I always stress that I try to keep the group together wherever possible. And it doesn't matter if the group breaks up and you have A, B, C. Everybody can ride with the group that's at their level, and I think that works. You know, it doesn't mean anything to drop somebody who's out of shape. You know, that does not mean you're in top condition. You need to drop people who are in the same condition you're in at your level. And that happens when you go to a race, everybody's there for that purpose. That's when it matters. So just keep that in mind. The group ride is more of a social thing, and you know, and if it breaks up, I'm sure some groups have A, B, C's, and so forth. Pick a group that's at level, the split, stay there, you will improve. So all I'm doing is I'm keeping the pace close to the effort Alan was using on 149. I did not stay up here very long, and I did not increase the tempo. Just kept it the same. As you can see, I'm now in the top of zone 2. So even though it's not hard for me, I'm not trying to impress anybody by going so hard at the front that the group breaks up. I stay low because it's windy. And just take a pull. So in a little bit, I look behind, check for traffic. Check for traffic, I move out, it's clear, I move out in the lane. And I film Rob as he comes by. And there's Maurice. That's Michael. And that's Paul H. He's coming for a fit on Friday. That's Mark. I slipped behind Mark. Alan left a gap. He may be stretching or something. You know, he's not having problems with the pace. From here, it became apparent to me later on in a little while that Rob had stayed up there too long. He had already pulled earlier in the ride, and you guys saw his face. He was working. But he's at the front now, and this road with the wind's coming from our left mostly now. But I think he stayed up there too long because once he pulls off, Maurice takes over. Maurice is on his wheel. And Maurice proceeds to ride hard, kind of like Mark was doing. and in the area where we had a lot of rollers, you would see them coming up, and that's where Rob had problems and he got dropped. So when we got to the Keenan cutoff turn, Mark was trying to wait. And even Alan asked, somebody got dropped, are you guys gonna wait? Paul H did not want to wait. And the reason I suspect is because Paul H felt like if they're gonna ride that hard, then we need to keep riding. I think he was tired. He doesn't like to wait. He just kept riding, and you'll see that. So I just stayed riding with Paul H. And when we got to the store that Mark wanted to stop at, which was kind of early, I think I had mentioned that, it's a little over an hour into the ride. And he said it was out of fluid, so that seemed weird to me. But anyway, at that point, Mark had to go back to find Rob because he was quite a ways behind. That's why I don't like to force the pace in a group ride too much unless you've got people that are going to stay together, because we only have one person that got dropped. But I think Rob worked too long at the front. That's Alan's back there in the program. This is, the climb is beginning. You can see it says 4%. When it says 4, it's probably 4 plus, because this thing picks up integers. This is a hill where a while back, Paul and I came through here. I was pulling, and these guys had packed us. He told me, oh, there's a big hill coming and so forth. So we're very familiar with it. This hill is very deceiving. It's very steep, long, and it curves, but it doesn't end. You can see it's still saying 3%. We're still climbing. And after you crest it, it levels off a bit, but then it kicks again. If you look at it, it looks almost wavy. And this whole time we're going up. I love this route. This route is challenging, and then it's quiet, and it has a nice shoulder. So it doesn't matter when you come, you're not competing for road space. It's very safe riding out here. If it says 0, but it's not flat, it's 0.7 or something like that. Now look ahead, look up the road. You can see it where the car is coming. That's another one. So the climbs repeat, and they go for at least, I would say, probably 5 kilometers on this stretch. I'm not sure why they're slowing down. Mark put his hand out. I don't need that. I just got a soft pedal. You can see I'm coasting. 0 RPM. So now, Rob pulled up. That's why probably there was a slowdown. Rob pulled up, and then Maurice is taking over. Michael's on Maurice's wheel. Paul H is there. Now Mark. I'm behind Mark. And we're climbing, and you will see the speeds that Maurice proceeds to ride at. And that's why I believe it's part of the reason he and Mark turned back when we got to that store. I had not planned to stop. I had planned to just keep riding. I want to get my K's in and get back home. So I'm at the top of zone 2, going into the tempo zone. And if I'm in the pack of this effort, I know we're riding hard. Right now we're creeping right up to my sweet spot here. Maurice is pushing because we're going, it's windy, it's hilly, and we're doing 28 kilometers an hour in this terrain. We're just between 1 to 3%, and we've been climbing for a while. This is the area that Rob got dropped in. So my cadence stayed between 80 to like 95-ish. That's what felt comfortable for me. On longer climbs, I find a rhythm and I hold it. If I need to go faster, I just spin the gear I'm in. So we're riding hard here. Right at the bottom of my sweet spot. It's going up again right here. It may not register, but you can see, just look at the road. The camera was framing. I was very impressed with the camera. At 7C, it was framing I put the gimbal stick further ahead of my calipers, so it was not touching my caliper at all. And so the calibration was not affected because it loads the camera when it bumps things. It loads the gimbal, I mean. The gimbal feels like it has too much load. You can see this is a hard pace, but it's comfortable for me. That's the fun thing when you fit. It's not easy, but I'm not dying or anything. You hear the wind. And you can see everybody's working. It settles a little bit here, and I think we might be pretty close to the Keenan cutoff turn off. That's where it levels, and then we turn right. So when you think it's over, you can look at the road. It's still a slight grade. It's a false flat. So you still have to put power to the pedals. My heart rate has dropped about 6 or 7 beats. So when you condition, your heart rate drops quickly as soon as you drop the power. So as soon as I probably shifted to a lower gear because the terrain here is not as challenging, even though the wind is blowing. And so my heart rate is going down because my heart does not need to work that hard. That's the thing you must keep up with. You got to pay attention to how you feel. So after the credits run, you will hear, I believe it's out of Mark. I think it's Mark. And then even Alan asks, are we going to wait because somebody got dropped? I hope we can hear it. I hope the camera picks it up. We turn here. This is Keenan cutoff. That's Alan asking. Paul H does not want to stop.
Fluid, we just started riding.
Yeah, so Mark had said he needs fluid. I'm like, we just started riding. You know, it's like an hour 20. You got 2 bottles on a cold day. You're out of fluid. That didn't make any sense to me. But, so I just continued to ride because Paul H, he never slowed down. He kept going. I said, I'm just going to ride. And then we all just kept on riding. But I went ahead and added Sunday in there to our Saturday escapade just to show you that these fair weather riders had to wait for the weather before they could get out. We don't do that. The weather does not control us. You can see the gap back there. It was a hard pace. Get your K's in.